Well, welcome. So we have another interesting transformation, I'll say, because it's a small space, but it has a lot going on with it. And I think for the goal of this young single professional who has great taste and wanted to live in a very well done, glamorous apartment, I think we've nailed it. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened here today and some of the biggest challenges we had, and hopefully a very happy homeowner when she comes to see it. Over here, what had to happen originally was we had old radiators and through-the-wall windows. And what we found is we really didn't like the, seeing things through the wall. So actually midstream we changed, got permission to knock a hole through the wall and combine the heating and air conditioning system over there. But what's more important is we had to really rip up all the parquet floors, install all new pre-finished, pre-engineered floors, and more importantly, rip down walls so that we have an open, big, eating, dining, living space, which is fabulous for a small apartment. So let's go over here and talk about what happened in the kitchen. So the biggest challenge of the whole renovation is this kitchen, which was completely enclosed in walls. So when you came in from the foyer, you wouldn't see into the kitchen. But in today's world and the lifestyle of this client, she really wanted to entertain and have an open kitchen in a big, open, eating, living area. So by removing the walls, figuring out how to deal with structural, adding the runs that we needed for the lighting, we were able to really create a beautiful and entertaining space for us to live and eat in. And it included really working to the 1/8 of an inch to make sure that we can incorporate the column, which there's a steel column under here. We had to think about wiring and running our plumbing lines, changing the sink from one side to the other. Gas range didn't change so much, but there were no walls here. They were like 3 inches, and you can't run pipes in that kind of wall. So what ended up happening is we ended up building this out, using glass mosaic to really tie that in. Ocote, beautiful quartz countertops that's called Frosty Carrera, which is, I think, probably one of the most stunning quartz products we've seen. We've incorporated the wine cooler, the microwave range, Lieber, refridge, with some challenges in that corner, dishwasher, and everything that we might use with great lighting that we fake softened so that we could run it below the beam and really create a beautiful space with an eat-in counter so that you could technically sit 3 people here and have the dining room, table right behind us and still have an open environment where you could talk and cook while you have guests. So small kitchens are just such a challenge, and in this space what we didn't know until we really designed the whole thing was that this refrigerator, which is a Lieber, expensive, beautiful, required 10 inches for me to open the door and have clearance so that once I open the door I can open all the drawers. And we had almost had this whole thing, we were really in production on it, and we said, oh my God, stop the press, because we had to put in really a pantry, which is the better thing in the end. It's a much better use of space to have this huge pantry. Again, trouble with building out the wall because of plumbing. So we have like 5 inches of wall, but that didn't matter because we really just had to make room for the door, and the door is over the windowsill, but all this had to be calculated in what we're doing, which is just nuts. Incorporated the full-size dishwasher, 24 inch instead of a small one. Actually had to do a smaller sink, which doesn't really matter because we still have the 2 garbage rollouts, which we want on both sides of this. It's just better for recycling and for, garbage, even though it's in this, all your services are right in the hall. So we incorporated this beautiful 20s inspired deco chandelier from Restoration Hardware to be really the showstopper, eye candy of the apartment that's centered over the dining room table, which gives us really a perfect opening and space for traffic and flow to eat, cook, and sit at the bar when you have company over. But let's go see the bathroom now, which I think is my favorite part of this whole glam design. So Gina really wanted glam, and we had a lot of fun finding the right tile for this bathroom, which is all porcelain and ceramic. And texture is a really big deal today as a trend in tile. And so what we have is we've incorporated This is called Adam, the tiles on the wall, and they actually protrude. The other version of it, it goes in, but we thought this was more dramatic in picking up the lighter colors and incorporating, the gray flecking in this is again Okate countertop with a vessel sink, gave us a lot more counter space. And La Cava is the fixtures which really tie into this very modern bath. This is a Roburn medicine cabinet that has a little magnifying mirror in there. My frameless glass doors, we actually used a tile curb because it was really hard to figure out how to make it wide, and we actually had problems. Originally wanted this glass door to come over farther. We weren't able to do that. So we have transitioned from the textural outer tile to flat tile so that we could install the door and minimize leaking. It's Starfire glass, so it has as little color as possible. Use the simple architectural types of, polished chrome hinges. Love the La Cava line in terms of its simplicity and the shape that we think works in here. I use, again, every detail of the pencils that match the tile, and we actually put a glass shelf so that we could minimize introducing another material. We didn't want to do that. But we kept the cubbies. We had to, actually had a funny story. We got the wrong tile. It was matte. It was supposed to be polished, and I had to redo the whole walls. I was just nuts. So let's take a look at these crazy closets. We had the challenge of trying to create real closets from what looked like real closets, and when we ripped the floor out, they were floating and moving, and the doors really weren't attached to a frame. So it was a challenge in redoing all of this, but most importantly, we had the client come back in with her closet organizer. And all in all, I think it's a great transformational closet. But let's take a look at the bedroom. The bedroom incorporated, again, closet challenges, but the most important thing was that we changed the through-the-wall air conditioning and heating unit to be a much better system so that it makes more sense for Gina, the client, to have integrated systems that are not in her windows, which nobody wants. So all in all, I think we've achieved everything this client wanted in this apartment, and I know she's thrilled, and it's transformed the space. I think her life as well, because we're now really changing all her interiors to redo and I suppose make her life a completely different existence in this space. So we'll just say ciao for now. See you on the next.